And this is why when I walk in a room, heads go down. Behind my back, I'm nothing. I'm just a regular old comedian that's bitter and jealous. But in my face, no, no, no. The king has walked in and they have to respect it only because I've not taken the shortcuts. I've not been funded.
Katt is out the bag. How Katt Williams left the internet in complete shambles. On Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024, Shannon Sharpe released his interview with Katt on his celebrity podcast called Club Shay Shay, and boy, oh boy, was it one for the history books. It instantly went viral within hours of its release and has amassed, y'all not gonna believe it, over 48 million views to date. Let me say that again. 48 million views to date. A total of 14 comedians and celebrities have responded to Katt's comments through videos and written posts. And these responses came swiftly, might I add. There have been an endless amount of posts, memes, comments. Several clips of old comedy shows have resurfaced on social media, bringing validity to Katt's claims about what these other comedians and artists do behind closed doors. Even podcast head honcho Joe Rogan, who has the #1 podcast on Spotify and the most listened to podcast in the entire world, tweeted that he watches Katt all the time and he would love to have him on his podcast. Katt came with a full container of gasoline, sprinkled every single drop, and basically set the internet on fire, lighting all of his ops up that have gotten in his way over the years. The biggest takeaway that I have gotten from all of this is that not one single person said he was lying, nobody refuted his claims, and no one has sued him for defamation. Another thing I noticed within all these responses from all these comedians is that there was a lot of deflecting and weak clapbacks, but nobody was actually setting the record straight. Nobody was coming out to say, Katt said this about me and this did not happen. He's lying. This is what it actually was. Nobody really did that. Like they say, where there's smoke, there's definitely fire. Katt had a lot to say about his comedian counterparts. Let's start with his biggest arch nemesis, none other than Kevin Hart. Katt makes his argument on why Kevin Hart is an industry plant. Let's take a listen.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No. What do you think a plant is?
Kevin then responds on Instagram by saying, "Gotta get that anger about you, champ. It's honestly sad. In the meantime, please enjoy my movie trailer to my next film, Lift, which will be dropping on Netflix in 8 days. There is a moment in the trailer where @Gungam Bathara says, 'They really love you.' And now I know." She's talking about Katt, laughing emojis. Mark your calendars, world. This one is special. Damn, Kevin, you really fell off. And by the way, I heard the movie flopped. Y'all didn't hear that from me, though. He also tried to make a sly joke on ESPN's NBA Unplugged that was so unfunny. Check it out.
Another fun fact about the New York Knicks, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Katt Williams bought the Knicks.
He definitely bought it.
He bought the Knicks,
yeah.
And it's rumored that he took the Knicks back, returned them with a receipt.
Yeah, you could do that. You didn't know you could do that.
The first person ever did.
Yeah.
You don't entertain the circus, you watch it, right? And when a lion comes out and rides the bike, you don't think about it too hard. You just go, okay, that's crazy. The lion's riding a bike. And then you go home and enjoy the rest of your day. I don't feed into the stuff at all. At the end of the day, it's all entertainment to a certain degree. So you just hope that people can be smart enough and have a tremendous amount of logic to just go and possibly do research.
And to add insult to injury, Kevin's ex-wife, Tori Hart, recently announced on Instagram that she is joining Katt's Dark Matters comedy tour. I can't make this up. She says that despite the way Kevin may feel about this announcement, she assumes that her ex will have no hard feelings because she says, hey, Kevin loves everybody, right? So there's no beef. When asked if she was brought on tour to make Kevin upset, she answered, why would he do that? Me and Katt are friends. We go back like 20 years. We're so close to the point where Katt babysat my dog. So she is sticking with her story that her and Katt are cool. They go way back, which is not a far-fetched thing to believe because it's no secret that Tori has helped write a lot of Kevin's earlier comedy material during their marriage, which is very interesting because I honestly think that Kevin's earlier specials were actually his best work. Like literally the first few comedy specials that he was coming out with back to back to back, that was when he really was at his peak. So I'm a Grown Little Man, that came out in 2009, seriously funny, like hilarious, that came out in 2010, and my personal favorite, Laugh at My Pain, came out in 2011. Let me explain, that came out in 2013. That was pretty good too. Not as funny as Laugh at My Pain. Laugh at My Pain is iconic, okay? And if you look at those years, 2009, 2010, 2011, now you may ask yourself, when did they actually get divorced? Let's look at this timeline. So Kevin and Tori finalized their divorce in 2011. So those first 3 comedy specials all happened up until 2011. So y'all do the math. I'm just saying. And now when you look at his later comedy specials that have come out in the recent years, boy, it is like night and day. Like seriously, it's like, is this even the same person? Like so corny, like his comedy just fell off a cliff. Especially that latest one that he did in like his house or whatever, that was so cringe. Like it was so bad, I could not believe. Like he's really gone so Hollywood, he's so out of touch. It's like you doing so many movies, you don't know how to get on stage anymore? Let's move right along to Ricky Smiley. Now, Ricky claimed when he came on Club Shay Shay that he actually was the one, he was offered the part of Magic Mike in Friday After Next, while Katt was supposed to be the Santa Claus. Well, Katt was not having it. He cleared that right on up. Let's hear what he has to say.
Because he said he was supposed to play Money Mike and you were supposed to play Santa Claus.
An outright lie.
So
that he knows is a lie.
So why would he say it?
Because he's a liar. Nobody knows why liars lie. He was so egregious, I put in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did. It's in my contract.
He went in. Oh my goodness. Katt, please slow down, slow down. So then Ricky responds on his radio show, the Ricky Smiley Morning Show, and says this.
I went out to audition for Friday After Next as Money Mike, not the Santa Claus. And that is the honest God truth. So when I got back to LA, they said, hey, your role has changed. You're going to be the Santa Claus. And here's the Santa Claus suit. Put it on, and here's your lines. I guess when Katt Williams did it, they added the whole pimp twist to that character, which was actually a better decision and made it funnier.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, because it's a long list of folks. It's a long list of folks we got to get to. Cedric the Entertainer. When Cedric came on Club Shay Shay, And Shannon was asking him, you know, about like his joke or whatever. I didn't watch the Cedric interview like that, so I don't know exactly the context, but turns out this is a joke that he stole from Katt Williams. And that ain't even the worst part. The worst part is that he stole a joke from Katt that he did on a nationally televised show, BET's Comic View. And I remember growing up watching Comic View. Comic View was everything. Comic View was really dope. It was really original. So many greats have come through there. So many greats have made a name because of Comic View. Back when BET was good and was really like in tune for the culture, Comic View was definitely like on par with Def Comedy Jam. Okay, I would say they were competitors. So for him to have watched Katt's show and to literally have stole something off TV, like, damn, Sid, you took it off the TV. Nah, this is crazy. This is crazy. Katt claims that he stole his very best joke, like his very best joke in his arsenal. Cedric stole it from his Comic View performance, and then he turned around and used it on the Kings of Comedy tour. Take a listen.
1998, I'm doing this joke. It's on Comic View. Cedric comes to the Comedy Store. He watches me in the audience. He comes backstage. He tells me what a great job I did and how much he loves the joke. 2 years later, he's doing that as his last joke on the Kings of Comedy. And he's doing it verbatim. He's just changed my car into a spaceship. Him and Steve had already apologized for me, so I gave him a pass for a decade.
It's an interesting time now. People get on these blogs and they just, start just spewing off stuff that's not even factual.
Right.
But, I let the fodder just go out there until I'm ready to respond to
Your
it.
work speaks for
I
itself.
am who I am. I stand on that.
Cedric then responds in an Instagram video to try to clear this whole thing up. This is what he says, y'all.
I have no idea what this brother is talking about. That joke is over 30 years old, close to 30-something years old. I did the Kings of Comedy in 1999. Probably had been doing that joke 6-7 years before that. I don't even know if Katt was doing comedy then. So, again, he's a talented brother. I have no idea what he's talking about. I've never seen Katt do a space shuttle joke. So, that may be something that he believes is true. I've written a lot of jokes. I've had a lot of comedians steal my jokes as well. So I understand if you feel, slighted by that, but that's my joke. That's my joke, dog. Driving space shuttle to the moon, cigarette, cutie pie rocking in the background, parallel parking the space shuttle. It's my joke, dog. So that's what I believe it to be. So, all right, that's all I can say about that.
All right, now we get into it. Let's get to Steve Harvey. Man, Steve Harvey always be... And I loved the Steve Harvey show growing up. I really did. It was one of the shows that I enjoyed. Katt says that Steve Harvey lied about being homeless, says that was Katt's story, that he's the one that was homeless and left his house at 13 and drove a huge trailer with a dog or whatever, going all the way from Ohio to Florida. That was Katt's story. Somehow Steve morphed and lied and took pieces of that story and made it his own when he never actually was homeless, according to Katt. Let's check it out.
This is like Steve Harvey telling people he used to be homeless. That's my story. That's not his story. Steve Harvey wasn't never homeless. When Mark Curry was touring with him 25 years ago, he was making $3,000 a show in cash and doing 5 shows a week.
He then goes on to talk about the real reason Steve quit stand-up completely. Listen to this.
He stopped stand-up because he got in a comedy battle called the Championship of Stand-Up Comedy with one Katt Williams in Detroit in front of 10,000 people and lost because Katt Williams said he was actually bald and that was a wig. And I went in and that's why he couldn't do stand-up anymore. Imagine him coming to tell you another story.
He also says that Steve was always jealous and threatened by Bernie Mac's talent. Period, point blank. Let's take a listen.
Why you not a movie star? I didn't want to be a movie star. This the same Negro that hated on Bernie with this same thing. Because the whole time Bernie was here, you was acting like you was funnier than him. The reason you was supposed to go last is because it was your tour. Tell the truth. It was Steve's tour, but you couldn't do it because you can't beat the best.
After all these things were said about Steve, Steve comes back to say one rink-a-dink line on an Instagram post where he says, "You don't have to address your haters." 100. Moving along to Michael Blackson.
Katt Williams, since we're in my career today, I want to know what's shorter, you or my scene in next Friday.
All of your scenes are small.
I don't like this.
And he doesn't like you either.
Okay. I hope none of your dreams come true, when I saw that.
They already did. Go away.
So Katt calls Michael Blackson's African accent fake. And he also goes into some key advice that he gave Michael. Let's take a listen.
He was wearing dirty dashikis. And I told him he needed to dress to be in the position that he's trying to say that he's in. And if you're the African king of comedy, sir, there's actually comedians in Africa doing comedy. If you're going to say that, you got to go to Africa and get a school, dude. Everybody got, you got to put in some work. And these guys, they take my advice, they change their whole persona, and then they hate me for it.
Michael then responds to Katt in a few tweets saying, "I'm so confused. I'm African with a thick African accent. My accent had me roasted every day in school and in the comedy clubs in America, and I wish I can get rid of it. Even my Philly accent is fake. I guess the only thing real about me is my dick." Then he says, the top 10 black comedians alive is Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Katt Williams, Martin Lawrence, Kevin Hart, Mike Epps, Cedric, Earthquake, and guess who 10 is, you beach morasoka? Then he says, Katt Williams is definitely top 10 comedians of all time and top 5 alive, but we all have to agree he's not the Katt of 2005. So those were Michael's initial tweets right after this interview came out. Let's get into Faison Love. Big worm, big worm. So Katt mentions that Faison had a comment regarding his Netflix comedy specials. Let's take a listen.
I only put on comedians that are funnier than me. Anybody that ever told you differently was a fat Faison liar. You can't just be Faison in every movie. Like, you just gonna take your shirt off on every movie? Like, Faison said that getting a Netflix special is easy. I have 12 specials. Guess how many Faison got? 0. Why is he allowed to have conversations about real stand-up people?
Faison responds in a series of Instagram posts. He posts an old 911 call where a boy was calling to say he was being held against his will. He puts another post where he says, all my brothers and sisters were jealous of me because I was an only child. Hashtag something a cat might say. Katt Williams tour tickets are posted on Groupon, so he's basically clowning him for selling his tickets on Groupon. Also, Faison did respond in a couple videos as well. Let's take a listen to what Big Worm had to say.
Chimp Williams. Chimp Williams. It's hard to address lunacy and hypocrisy and downright ignorance. But it's so funny how many people think this dumb, stupid motherfucker is spitting truth. But that's the internet, I guess. You guys want to believe in something so bad. I guess you left God and now you believe in chimps like this nigga. He's actually
calling for help. None of the shit he says lines up with nothing.
Katt, who has been very critical of Tiffany Haddish in the past, mentions her again in this interview where he says that Tiffany never performed at the Comedy Store. She's only performed at the Laugh Factory. Well, Tiffany did respond, and she says that, I am not mad. I just wish he would get his facts right about me. Dang, I guess I will send him a reminder text. But are we sure that is Katt Williams? He looks a lot like Charleston White. So that was Tiffany's little response there. And she recently performed at the Dania Improv Comedy Theater in Dania Beach, Florida, where she spoke more on Katt's viral interview. Check it out.
I've been telling jokes since 1996. 1996. This nigga said, oh, they wouldn't let her perform in the Comedy Store. That's true. They wouldn't let me perform on the white nights in the Comedy Store, but I performed on all the black nights. They wouldn't let me perform on the white nights at the Improv, but I performed on all the black and Latino nights.
Okay, the last person I'm going to get into that Katt dragged in this interview is Wanda Smith. Who is Wanda Smith? She was one of the radio show hosts on V103 about 5 years ago. And back in 2018, during an interview with Katt at the time, before the interview started, she spoke with him. She told him that, hey, we're here to support you. We're excited for you. We only want to talk about your Emmy win. So at this time, he had just won Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series for his appearance in the comedy series Atlanta. So big ups to Katt. He out here, it was a guest starring role at that, and he won a whole Emmy for that. The talent speaks for itself. Like he says, I really am the product. So that's what she said before the interview got started that day. After the interview started and the cameras were rolling, this lady switched up so fast. She said she just started making jokes about, his arrest and going to prison. And this interview went viral back then. It has like over 9 million views on YouTube. It is hilarious. Hilarious. To this day, it is still so funny. Let's check it out.
I want to let everybody know that Wanda got some lipstick on right now with enough glitter for the 4th of July 2020.
And hurry up and get to the salon. All right, it's the People Station V103. Your hair is kind of...
That joint was...
My hair is 19 inches long and I have no perm.
You don't?
Oops.
Oh, that's not a perm.
No, it is not. Nice lady.
That's natural?
Come run one of your gnarled fingers.
Come here.
While you on air, so they can hear you live.
Come on. Let me come over here.
No. That's not how that works.
Oh, okay. Well, then stay over there.
Don't worry. Ain't nobody putting their hands through yours.
That's right.
Tell Wanda to take off them headphones and that wig.
And make sure.
That wig and that headphones come together.
And take off them old-ass clothes you got on. How about that? Yeah, they're old.
Versace, yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
She said,
Versace.
I want to apologize to the people at Versace Collection. This is your 2019 summer line that hasn't come out.
Get this inmate out of here.
If you can't get your blood pressure down, you can't call me down.
Whatever, little mama.
If your cholesterol is 600.
Whatever, little mama.
I'm little mama's baby daddy.
No, you little mama.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey,
and what are you, girl? You probably shouldn't talk about sizes.
No, that's okay.
You big on the radio.
That's right. And you're big
Turn
in
it
prison.
down.
And you're
yes,
big
ma'am.
in prison.
I've never been to prison.
You have
19
several
felonies,
times.
no convictions.
Yeah,
Knock it off. Prison and jail aren't the same. No.
Okay,
No.
Calm
No.
down. Calm down.
Only one of us has $12 worth of jewelry on. No.
No.
If you want to have Wanda's jewelry, please go to Citgo or Quick Trip at any point. If you buy 2 packs of Newport 100s, they will give you everything Wanda has on right now for $7.99, and it comes with a free car wash. Won't you come on down?
So, on Club Shay Shay, Katt he goes into detail about why he roasted her so mercilessly. Whew.
Before I go in there, she has a conversation about, okay, now, I just want to talk to you because you just wanted Emmy for the city of Atlanta, and this is in Atlanta, and they just want to hear about the Emmy and hear from you and to thank you for what you did putting the city on.
Right, okay.
And we won't talk about your kids. We won't talk about jail, no cases. We ain't gonna talk about none of that.
Right.
And immediately gets in there and goes the opposite way. You can't flip up on me because you're an inferior comedian. I'm going to destroy you, and I'm never gonna call you out of your name. I'm never gonna say anything disrespectful to people that look like you. It's a very thin line I gotta call, but this lady is trying to embarrass me in front of a largely homosexual fan base. That's why she got canceled.
When I was asked at the moment to bring him into the room, he was actually visiting with another comedian. So I was like, okay, so Mr. Ski asked me to go invite him into the room, so I did what one to do. Come on, I don't want to come, I don't want to. So one thing led to another, and honestly, if you go back and look at the video, I'm dumbfounded, okay, where's all this coming from? Because I've never, in my 25 years, gotten into it with no one on the air. Not one time have I ever had a run-in with a client or a customer or a listener. So for me, it just didn't feel right. It felt bad. Because I didn't take it that serious until I got the air, and I'm like, well, damn, are y'all bad for real? You know, and then it started going everywhere, and that's when I realized, I said, wow. So a couple days went by, and I still didn't understand it like that, because honestly, we're comedians. And we joke around, we play around, but when it started getting a little, you know, intense, I said, okay, but what people don't realize is that once we went to break, it got a little heated, and I'm looking at certain people in the studio that was kind of egging it on. And it was almost like felt like I was being beat up on. So of course I'm gonna defend myself, and I'm gonna come back, but I'm not a tit for tat, joke for joke, your mama type person. And so it kind of went to the left.
Let's get into some miscellaneous topics. Throughout this interview, Katt touched on a number of things outside of dragging all of these fake fraudulent comedians. According to him, his words, not mine, he did get into some other things. He says Chris Tucker is now Epstein Island Chris, and he wouldn't be able to play Smokey in the new Friday movie even if he wanted to because of that. He talks about how Martin tried to talk him into wearing a dress for Big Mama's House 2, which was the first time he was ever, I think, propositioned to do that. That was a surprise to him because him and Martin are good friends, and you know, he knew the history with Big Mama's House 1 and how he had to wear the dress for the first one. So he's like, dang, again? Why they got you wearing a dress in the second movie? You already did this. Why can't you be wearing something else? Let's take a listen.
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. When he had to go on his hiatus, he tell me, Katt, when I come back, I need you. You my young partner, you my brother in comedy. When I come back, just promise me that my next movie, it'll be me and you. We gonna do it together. We gonna do some buddy cop shit. I said, Martin, you got my motherfucking word, my nigga. Go do what you gotta do. When you come back, I'm in your movie. Don't trip. I don't need to see the script or nothing. You know, we get in that office and this fool pull out Big Mama's House 2. I almost died. And I gotta read this script from all these good white people, where this nigga want me to get in a dress with him. And I'm literally saying to everybody, why is he in a dress again? You already played the old lady as an FBI agent. We can play anything now. We can be playing a dog catcher this time. Why do we need to be in a dress? And I get so mad, I say, you don't want me. You want Brandon T. Jackson. And that's who they went and got.
Mike Epps. Nobody checking for Mike Epps. Mike Epps feels left out of the group chat, y'all. Because Katt did not mention his name at all. He is heartbroken about it, okay? Let's check out what Mike Epps had to say.
All right, I did get a little jealous, man. Katt broke the internet and didn't say my name, good or bad. I need the press too. Say something about me in there, man. Say something bad about me. I don't care. I got a special coming out. I need the press. Man, we did a movie together, damn.
In addition to this video clip, he also wrote a couple Instagram posts where he says Katt's Fendi jacket is fake and that he put Katt on for a movie. I put all these MFs on and still putting comics on today. None of y'all brave enough or care enough to work with him or come around him. Stop making this ish so bad. We comedians. I put him in a movie when no one wanted to work with him. Some of that shit he said was true and some of it was not. At the end of the day, we all black men in the business. That is not ours. I cracked on his jacket because that's what comics do. All this ish is marketing, dummies. All the ish, he said, and y'all mad at me? Get the F out of here. We having fun. Y'all stressing. After he got backlash for trying to call Katt's Fendi jacket fake, which, by the way, I heard it's sold out on the Fendi website. It's retailed at $4,200. And it's sold out after this interview went viral, honey. So, and the jacket's not fake. It's been confirmed. It's real. I mean, I don't got nothing against Mike Epps. I've seen one of his shows. I've actually met him backstage at one of his shows. He's a really cool guy, really down to earth. I mean, all of these guys have something unique, something that I do like about them, that I have liked about them in the past, even if they're not active anymore. I love Cedric the Entertainer. I did like Steve Harvey when he had his show and when I was younger and I didn't know any better. Now I appreciate Mark Curry and hanging with Mr. Cooper. And of course, Kevin Hart. I was a big fan of Kevin Hart. I've met him as well. Big fan of Kevin Hart's early work. He has just gone on a downward slope in the recent years. He's shifted from doing hardcore comedy to Hollywood and movies, and I guess since Tori has been out the picture, he just can't write a good joke to save his life, because all the comedy specials after she's gone out the door have been lackluster, boring, corny, trash, etc. Just saying. Katt doesn't have beef with all comedians. Come on, guys. Let's give him a break, huh? He did speak on the comedians that he actually respects. Katt deems Bernie Mac as the funniest king of comedy. Let's take a listen.
The king is the funniest. Period. Every time. And that's why no audience member was ever swayed. It didn't matter where Bernie went. You think if Bernie went first, he wasn't the king? Get out of here. Get out of here.
Katt Williams has my utmost appreciation and respect for giving my dad his props and his flowers. And I felt like it was genuine. There are some people who have given, my dad his flowers now that he's dead that I'm looking at like, doggone well, he wasn't doing that when he was alive. But when Katt spoke of my dad, for me, I felt his heart. I felt that it was genuine. It's so much appreciated. Much love and mad props to Katt Williams. I would love to sit down and just have a conversation with Katt Williams, because I think that is probably the most entertaining and gem-dropping conversation I probably would have in my life outside of conversations with my dad. So much love and respect to Katt Williams.
Katt points out that Gary Owen is a white comedian that has been in the business for over 25 years. But some way, somehow, he has never been able to cross over, quote unquote, to mainstream Hollywood. He says that basically to say that he didn't sell his soul. Gary responds on his podcast, Get Some. Let's see what Gary has to say.
Katt made a comment where he said, why you think Gary Owen, who's a white guy, has been doing stand-up for 25 years, hasn't crossed over? And when he said it, I was like, wait a minute, was that a good thing or bad thing? And I literally had to go to Twitter and start asking people, was I catching strays or what was that? And they was like, no, they were saying you haven't sold your soul. That's why you haven't crossed over. You've been consistently you, and that's why you haven't, quote unquote, crossed over. So I was like, oh, okay, that made sense.
Hey, that's an interesting, he's honest in his take. Like, I'm not really sure, was he clowning me? Was he not? I think that was a compliment. Was he roasting me? I see it as a compliment. He's basically saying, like, I hold you the same way I have respect for myself and other people that don't sell their soul, the same way I have respect for you, because you didn't cross over, and that is the obvious reason why. So he was basically giving him a compliment for sure. Shout out to Gary Owen. He was always funny. I feel like when I think of Comic View, he is definitely a face that comes to mind. He was on Comic View so many times. He's so funny. And, you know, watching his podcast to get this reaction, just seeing like running down the list of cities he's hitting on his tour and all the shows he has coming up. Like, he is still out here, like, working, like, ain't missed a beat. So he's been in the business going strong for 20 plus years. Like, that is not easy to do. He talks about DL Hughley. He does say that, hey, DL is one of the greatest. No DL slander will be tolerated. Okay, so Katt got good taste. These comedians that he has respect for, these are actually the great ones. I have to agree, for sure, because DL was always funny. Loved his comedy sitcom as well. I'm a big comedy sitcom girl. Like, I used to watch all the comedy sitcoms growing up. So DL's show was hilarious as well. The Hughleys, like, so funny, so witty, you know, so intellectual. He's a high level, high thinker comedian, you know, and he's done the same thing in his stage routines, covering political topics, and he's talking like some really deep stuff in a funny way. Katt says that Earthquake has consistently been good on stage, and he doesn't think that he's ever been booed. So he does give Earthquake his flowers, and he talks about Mark Curry. He really shines a light on Mark Curry, which I think that's really dope, because I think Mark Curry is underrated. He doesn't get talked about a lot. He kind of gets forgotten with all the other big names, but he definitely had his place in the 90s, in the early 90s, with his show, with his comedy run on stage. So he says that it was Mark that actually helped Katt to elevate his very best joke to an even better joke. And he talks about how Steve Harvey basically just stole his whole career. Okay, let's get into it.
The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he wear a suit and then he gets this high top fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business, and it's a man unit.
Katt says that he has taken 46 comedians on the road and that he only puts on comedians that are funnier than him. Shady a bit? So what does that mean? That means Steve Harvey, a Cedric, a Ricky Smiley. You definitely know a Kevin Hart has never been seen in the same building, in the same hallway, talk less of a stage together. Okay, that's what that means. That's what he said. He said what he said. Whew. On the gatekeepers in Hollywood, Katt did not mince his words on the foul and soul-selling activities that have gone down in his presence. Let's get into these clips.
You know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. In 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing...
You will tell it?
No, somebody come to tell me.
Okay.
I gather that, I value that, I'll pay for that. Come, tell me. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times, just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. He offered to suck my penis in front of all my people at my agency. What am I supposed to do? He did all of that. I'm thinking I'm the only black person on the script. I get there, it's 3 other black guys on there. Woo. Huh.
So you wonder what they did to get there?
I told him no. What y'all do?
Katt alludes to Ludacris joining the Illuminati after they were both offered this $200 million deal, career-changing deal, where they were asked to do certain things appearance-wise, and something tells me that there were other caveats to this deal that Katt didn't actually speak on. And he says that 2 individuals were offered this deal, himself and Ludacris. And guess who took the deal?
So there was a crossroads where we were both invited to an Illuminati thing. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person, they said, was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams.
He claims it was for $200 million and is supposed to equal out to 20 movies. What number is Fast and Furious on? Aren't they on the 10th movie? Didn't they just put out the 10th movie? Has Ludacris been putting out music since he really got into this franchise? Not really.
Never been Illuminati, only Illuminati, and I only left with bitches when coming from any party. Now I'm married with kids, the evolution of life. Never been a clout chaser, never say shit for life.
I want to talk a little bit about Shannon Sharpe's interviewing skills, because I saw that this got a lot of coverage. A lot of people had a lot to say about Shannon Sharpe's interviewing skills. I thought that was interesting. I'm like, here we are, a groundbreaking, instantly classic, unforgettable, one-of-its-kind interview, and people still have negative things to say. Like, it was such a great interview. It's almost like, how could you say anything bad about it? But, you know, that's critics for you. People were definitely going in on his interviewing skills. I really didn't think it was that bad. Maybe because I have watched several other interviews on Club Shay Shay, so I'm used to Shannon Sharpe. I used to watch Shannon Sharpe all the time on Undisputed. He is a gem, period. He is just a gem. Anything that he talks about, whatever platform he goes on, he just shines so bright. He is truly a star. So I like Club Shay Shay. I mean, I think it's been great from the beginning. And it continues to get better. I think he continues to get better and more comfortable in this space, because this is much different than analyzing sports or giving sports takes. So I thought he did a great job, to be honest, overall. I really don't have a lot of complaints. He approached the interview the same way he approaches all his other interviews. And I think a lot of people jumped out and had so much criticism to give him. And it's like, have you ever watched any other Club Shay Shay interview, or are you just jumping on the bandwagon right now? Because it's not fair to come at somebody's skill when you don't look at the past. Like, what have they done before? Is there a method to their madness? And there certainly is. He always takes the same approach. He's respectful in how he asks his questions. He's not messy. He's not gossipy. He's not trying to get the tea. That's not what this platform is. There are plenty of other platforms that have that tone. Shannon doesn't have that tone. He allows every guest to be vulnerable, to speak their truth, and to share in-depth insight into their life story without judgment and without interrupting them. That is what I've noticed in the several podcasts that I've seen of Club Shay Shay, and this one was no different. So I think people were a bit like harsh and a bit like ignorant, I would say, in their critique of him. The only thing I would say, if we were to change anything about it, is that he could have asked follow-up questions. He doesn't do that in his interviews. He typically sticks to the script. He has his questions on his cards, and he has an order. He has an idea of how he wants the interview to go, and he goes by that. If people answer the question, he asks another question. He's like a journalist in that way, where when you're conducting an interview, you ask the questions, you let the guests answer, and it's not really a lot of, wow, really? And that's so true, and I agree. There's none of that. That's what I think is hard about doing an interview and feels weird, in my opinion, is when you're not supposed to like chime in on what was just said. You're supposed to get to the next question and just allow there to be a space to receive those answers. So that's what Shannon does. He doesn't say, oh, well, tell me more about that. And what? How did that? He goes to the next question. However, I think he should have made an exception for this episode. I wish he would have had the intuition in the moment to say, this is different. I've done a number of these interviews, and boy, have a lot of them done great. Most of his interviews have 1 million+ views. Like, Club Shay Shay is killing it, you know. but he should have recognized that this is something else. This is a different animal, and I need to treat it differently. And I wish he would have done that, because we certainly would have got more tea for us that loves the gossip like myself. But I'm not gonna kill him over it. Like, I'm not gonna drag him like, oh, the interview is terrible, it could have been so much better. Like, it was a bomb-ass interview, period. That's the only critique I would give it, is that I wish he would have switched gears to ask those follow-up questions when you hear him talking about Illuminati and keeping his virgin hole safe and talking about Diddy and all that stuff. It would have been nice for him to kind of push into that a little bit, because Katt was very open. Katt was there. He was like, I got time. He was comfortable. He was sipping his drink. He was ready to tell it all. I feel like whatever crazy question you want to ask, whatever details you want to get out of it, you could have got it on that couch that day. He could have got anything out of that interview, any details he wanted, if he would have simply just asked. Shout out to Katt Williams. He really shook the internet up. He started 2024 in a major way. What I liked about the interview is he really led with the truth, his experience, and he didn't mince his words. He didn't hold back. He was on a mission to clarify things, to clear his name, his reputation, lies that have been spewed. I respect the hell out of him. I think he is a brilliant comedian. Older Katt, newer Katt, like, it doesn't matter what special it is. It's raw, it's uncut, it's insane. He's such an exciting character. Overall, he's a good stand-up dude that gives people opportunities, that gives back. He's so generous. He would do so many things for people that he never speaks on. He's humble, he's hardworking, and he proclaims himself as the best in the business. And the way this interview went, the way it went crazy, can we doubt that? Can we disagree? I don't think so. So that is my coverage of Katt Williams, Club Shay Shay, magnificent, monumental interview. This is your girl, Lady Sola. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe, okay? I appreciate y'all in advance. I hope I'm not missing anything. It was so much stuff, y'all. It was so much stuff. And it's still going. There's still stuff coming out. Like, it's crazy. But I appreciate y'all for checking this out. I'm signing off. Talk to y'all soon.